You may be considering Malaysia as your retirement abroad destination, but will it be the paradise you imagined? Today, let's talk about 6 possible cons to retiring in Malaysia. First up on our list is the constant heat. In Malaysia, you'll experience a tropical climate with little seasonal variability between months. Doesn't sound too bad, right? But the constant heat can become uncomfortable and draining, especially when combined with the thick humidity. My wife and I found it to be extremely hot outside while walking around all day in Georgetown, Penang, and we had to take many breaks to get out of the heat. Luckily, we found some sunscreen though at a local store. We can even see that Malaysia's capital city is hot and humid year-round, with temperatures averaging a toasty 72 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and that city air can make it feel stuffier as well. The good news here is that there are definitely ways to cool yourself down. We love trying out different cold desserts like the yummy sindel, going to the AC malls, etc. Another thing to be aware of are the driving conditions and risks. So the roads and driving conditions may feel a bit chaotic at times and possess some risks, especially for newcomers. It's common to see drivers not following all of the traffic rules, such as staying within driving lanes. So pedestrians must take extra care to watch out for vehicles and look out for motorcycles too that tend to swoop in and out of traffic. When crossing the street at an intersection, make sure to go forward steadily without any sudden movements. Try not to change directions midway, but instead progress forward, slowing and stopping when needed. Traffic has this way of weaving itself or flowing around you. And as for traffic accident cases in Malaysia, the number has increased from 545,588 in 2022 to 598,635 in 2023. So it's just something to keep in mind and exercise caution. The next topic is that of rising prices and having enough steady income. It looks like the cost of living may be on the rise in Malaysia. One reason is due to the Malaysian government officially raising the SST rate, or the sales and service tax, from 6% to 8%. This was effective on March 1st, 2024, and happened across several sectors such as finance and leisure. It was also rumored that the GST, or goods and service tax, different than the SST, would be returning to Malaysia, but fortunately there are no plans to reintroduce it at this point in time. So with this in mind, friends, it is crucial to number 1, make sure you have steady income each month, and number 2, make sure it's enough, meaning that you do not run out of money in case of cost of living increasing or unexpected expenses. I've seen many couples in Kuala Lumpur, or KL for short, with a monthly cost of living ranging from around 2,300 to 2,600 USD. But again, this is a range that will depend on lifestyle choices and location. So for a single individual to live comfortably, you're probably looking at around the 1,000 to 1,500 USD range. It's true that living in a country with a lower cost of living can be exciting, but it's important to be careful with spending. My wife and I found things to be much more affordable when in Penang and KL versus US. But remember, those small purchases that seem like nothing can quickly add up. You may also be expecting social security benefits, and although it may be enough to cover living expenses, it may be a good idea to keep in mind the following in addition to your social security payment. Number 1, stay out of debt, which can become a great burden, especially if you are tight on cash. There are many debt payoff strategies such as the debt snowball and debt avalanche methods. If interested, you can check out other videos on this channel sharing more about getting out of debt. Number 2, have a retirement nest egg such as a traditional or Roth 401k or IRA saved up to withdraw from in retirement. Number 3, remember that unexpected expenses will happen, such as needing to visit a loved one that falls ill or going to the hospital. So having an emergency fund saved up to cover 2 years of living expenses is a good thing to do. My wife and I are currently building up our emergency fund and do not keep it in the stock market, but instead in a high yield savings account. The reason for this is because when, not if, but when there is a downturn in the stock market, you can pull from your emergency fund instead of your nest egg in the stock market. And number 4, be mindful and careful when starting a business, because it will possess risk, both seen and unforeseen. Plus, it may require a lot of startup and maintenance costs. Keep in mind, however, that there are lower risk and lower startup cost type of businesses, such as opening a YouTube channel where you can open a channel for free and record on your phone when first starting out. Okay, now let's talk about one of, if not the most frustrating frustrating topics for many people wanting to retire in Malaysia, which is the increased MM2H requirements and waiting for final updates. The MM2H, or Malaysia My Second Home, was a 10-year renewable visa program with lots of benefits for retired expats. The requirements, however, increased significantly back in 2021. Then the program was revamped again in December of 2023, but it's still not 100% finalized. Let's start with how back in 2021, the monthly income requirement increased from 10,000 Malaysian ringgit to 40,000. Show liquid assets amounting to 1.5 million Malaysian ringgit. The fixed deposit bumped up to 1 million Malaysian ringgit. You must spend 90 days a year in Malaysia, and the minimum age increased from 21 to 35. And yes, government charges also increased, such as the annual visa fee and the processing fee. Then, as I mentioned, in December 2023, the Malaysian government restructured the MM2H into 3 separate categories: platinum, gold, and silver. The fixed deposit required for silver is 500 Malaysian ringgit, which is just over 1,000 US dollars. The gold is 2 million Malaysian ringgit, which is about 440,000 USD. And for platinum, 5 million Malaysian ringgit, and that's just over 1 million US dollars for your fixed deposit. The visa duration stayed at 5 years for silver, bumped up to 15 years for gold, and eligible for PR or permanent residency with the platinum level. We can see though that the age requirement and the required days both went down, from 35 years old to at least 30 years old, and for required days in Malaysia per year, it went from 90 days to 60 days. But unfortunately, it's almost mid-2024 and we still don't have a final say on liquid asset or income requirements. Now, in terms of buying property, conditions have changed as well, which I'll address in the next section of this video. The MM2H changes and waiting for updates has been very stressful for many retired or ready to retire individuals. If you're in this boat, I'm hoping the best can come soon. As of right now, it just seems to be a waiting game. My wife and I also personally reached out to a visa agent and they confirmed that the program is currently closed and not accepting applications at this time. We can see firsthand that conditions and regulations for visas can frequently and suddenly change, so it's good to stay up to date. And there still are other ways to stay in Malaysia long term. If interested in learning more, please drop a comment and let me know. On to real estate investing conditions and risks. There are actually a nice variety of options available for real estate investing, but also conditions and minimums. I will not go over all of them in this video, but we'll cover some of the basics. If you hold the MM2H visa, depending on location, applicants must demonstrate a certain level of financial liquidity, either through offshore income or cash in the bank. You must be sponsored by a Malaysian citizen. In Peninsular Malaysia, a registered MM2H agent can replace a citizen sponsor. And if you hold the MM2H visa, you can enjoy certain benefits that come along with owning property in Malaysia. But the rule for minimum purchase price has since been updated with the restructured MM2H program as of December 2023. Depending on your financial situation, this could be viewed as a pro or a con. For platinum, applicants can withdraw a maximum of 50% of their fixed deposit amount after a year to purchase properties valued at 1.5 Malaysian ringgit and above. Also, we can see for healthcare and for tourism activities in the country. But let's focus on the 1.5 million minimum and above. For gold, it's also allowed to withdraw a maximum of 50% of the deposit amount after a year to purchase properties valued at 750,000 Malaysian ringgit and above. Then for silver, it's actually the same as gold, with properties valued at 750,000 Malaysian ringgit and above. For details on the step-by-step process on how to buy a home in Malaysia, you can visit propertyguru.com.my. And although there may be many places to invest in real estate in Malaysia, some also say that it can be difficult to flip apartments easily in Malaysia. There is paperwork involved no matter where you are that involves state and federal law, and sometimes it can't be completed quickly. Next up is that you'll need to adjust to the new food and customs. In all honesty, we love the food, and this usually is not a big complaint amongst expats due to Malaysia's diverse and delicious food options. But it still may take people time to adjust. Of course, there are other options available like many Western restaurants and food chains. But keep in mind the food offering sometimes is different because companies will localize flavors and taste to meet customers' wants and needs. Truly friends, I can't highly recommend enough first visiting the country you want to retire in to get a feel of everything. It's important to not expect or demand a country with its unique roots of culture and food to suddenly start changing for you. Instead, you can adapt to it and learn to enjoy seeing things from a different perspective. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share with a friend, and subscribe for more retired abroad and financial freedom content to come shortly.